What's good, y'all? Y'all know me as DJ Afterburns, LLC. Pretty much the Eurobeat Leonidas from Kansas City, and pretty much the one crazy nut job who is the main creator of Robo Baby Mama Drama. You guys pretty much know I've been making content for practically the past 7 months on the Gravity Circuit subreddit. And pretty much from all of the events that happened, I will admit it was probably one of the most funniest and creative things that really allowed me to let loose. And I want to be able to actually address to everyone who was a big supporter of it, or people who just tuned in to watch the chaos, to pretty much saying thank you very much for being able to be a part of the journey. Pretty much why I'm making this video is pretty much to give my reflection as far as that. A lot of people from the subreddit that probably didn't take it too well. I will admit, even though I had way too much fun of somebody at my age creating all of that stuff, that does not excuse my behavior as far as how I acted towards some of you guys lately as far as the latest content. And I actually formally and officially want to apologize to you guys as far as that. As you guys may know, I made a video pretty much explaining how this was a crazy, bootleg, unintentional guerrilla marketing tactic to be able to get eyes on a peak video game that I honestly fell in love after seeing it. The music is peak, pretty much like one of the greatest Eurobeat artists had gotten on there, Dominic Nimmark, on who I discovered from the Eurobeat community. Shout out to Odyssey and all them too. Pretty much that's what got me hooked on the Gravity Circuit. Seeing this as a peak indie video game that really had so much potential that I saw would be able to hit serious numbers and even compete alongside Mega Man and all this stuff. For some reason, from the team behind, even though the game sold really well, the underdog story in a way that I've seen it, I wanted to push the limits to be able to get serious eyes on this game. And I mean to a point where it's I really wanted this thing to seriously blow up. So in my own chaotic way, I intentionally ended up making probably one of the most craziest crack ship, fan fiction, YUMESHIP things that probably ever. Wow. I don't even know how to. I knew that Robo Baby Mama Drama was probably one of the craziest, most chaotic fan fictions that possibly may have came up with something that would definitely get attention. It involved a lot of explicit and suggestive themes that I knew would be something that would make someone's head turn. And honestly, for the folks who actually gave valid criticism, everyone who thought that this was an absolute insane piece of work to a point where it's thinking that I needed mental help because of this, it is 100% valid. Listen, the comments as far as, oh my gosh. When I meant that I was trying to go absolutely no limits or no bars as far as making all of this, I literally meant that, even involving different characters from Sonic Frontiers, involving Metal Carbot, involving other franchises in a way to be able to get people to actually join this thing. There were some people who actually admitted that they were curious about Gravity Circuit based off the game. And posting also on Robot Girls, the Robot Girl subreddit and all that stuff to pretty much get attention from Nurse, and also just taking advantage of Synthesizer V for it. It stirred a lot of controversy. This is a complete self-insert. I literally wanted to put my all 100% into this chaotic fan fiction. The opposition that I had probably for the past 7 months, as far as that, you would understand, I had sure-proof way, or at least in my mind, combating any type of negativity or any type of negative comments. Any interaction on the subreddit or any part of the lore, whether on TikTok or Reddit, was an additional part to the lore. That's the thing. That's what made this fun. And that's literally what made this thing just keep going. That's why I said that this was a literal unstoppable machine. A lot of people did not like that. For the guy Inspector Revolver, once again, I said that you had the most sound and level-headed critique as far as my content. Yes, I will give you props. Pretty much you end up dissecting exactly what I was doing well. It wasn't 100% fully that strategy, but it was the thing. Pretty much any negative comments that came towards me, which I ended up receiving a decent amount of them, especially towards the early parts of it, I end up using that as lore, or literally made literal content out of it. I do have to apologize because if that actually made any of you guys feel that incited harassment or anything towards you guys, As far as that was honestly not my intention whatsoever. That was just my thought out way of pretty much staying tenacious and be able to still keep pumping out content. You know what I'm saying? But it got to a point where I don't know if it was like just a parody account or whatnot, but you guys do know that there were literally slander accounts against Nurse on Twitter being made just to get a reaction from me. And that was part of me using that as lore as well too. At that point, I was really just having fun at that point. I didn't think that, I really didn't think that people would go that far or pretty much like do that just to get something, even on TikTok or whatnot, which honestly, where most of my support really did come from. I think it probably became a little bit overwhelming because I did end up having a lot of music towards it. And pretty much like from some earlier criticisms when I made this, how can I say it? Earlier criticisms when I ended up making it said that it was like really low tier quality because it was pretty much just like animations of still images with minimal movement. But as time went and when I ended up getting better at making videos using DaVinci and made better mixes and all that stuff, pretty much it got to a point where like, along with like Adobe Photoshop and all that, it got to a point where it's like, people really couldn't like say anything as far as the quality of it. The problem was that like I'm very hard-headed and I have a lot of tenacity. I really don't want to sound very egotistical, but when it comes to creating, I'm very hard-headed. If someone tells me no, or if I get any type of like backlash or anything as far as that, or if someone tells me that I am not allowed to do something, especially towards creating or exploring, I will do it 1,000 times fold just to spite you specifically. And that is my problem. Like, I literally got to a point where this YUMESHIP fan fiction ended up becoming something that was super big. Pretty much the main lesson as far as what I learned from all this was pretty much like one creative endurance battle for me. A creative endurance race. Even with 0 interactions, even with a bunch of backlash, and even with like slander going against me as far as in private settings, what do I do in that case? I kept creating. Like for the past 7 months, I kept pumping out content consistently. And it got to a point where it's like, some people really thought that I was legitimately crazy. I created because I wanted to do stuff. Specifically to you, and I actually want to seriously thank you. Even though we had this discussion earlier, I seriously want to thank you because at literally a time where I was literally about to be evicted from my apartment, I wanted to be able to make something, be able to create, to pretty much get my mind off of the stuff, which was kind of around the time where all of the shenanigans started. Pretty much the words that you told me yourself, Ant, as a creator, when you make stuff, not everybody has or will like the stuff that you put out. You cannot depend on external validation. From there, I added my own context. I didn't depend on anyone's validation. Even if no one liked my content, does that mean that I stop? I didn't. And that's what allowed me to keep going. I turned negativity into lore. That's kind of one of the reasons why I also kept going too. It wasn't like just Redditors and all that stuff, because I was actually getting positive support from like other platforms. I probably say like more so within like the VTuber community and from other friends, mostly on like TikTok and all that. Because like the formatting and the consistency and pretty much like all of that, just seeing people's like reactions on there, whether positive or negative, literally just made me want to keep going and just doing that. Even though I shouldn't really create because of people's like external validation, there were a lot of people who actually supported the content, and which was really surprising. And it got to a point where I truly did receive a good handful of fan art of the ships that I ended up making. Like, once again, like big shout out my guy Larry Shaw Jr. and all this stuff. I literally have other pieces of painted glass fan art being made for me right now. Like I have people sending Valentine's stuff of me and Nurse and all this stuff too. Pretty much we're in the running as far as just trying to get integrated in the YUMESHIP community as well too. Oh my God. Which, oh yeah, that's pretty much like a big thing I want to address too. I will take accountability as far as like using Dom Ant Games logo for like some of the parodies I ended up doing, especially like anything involving murder drones. Pretty much, yeah, like pretty much the famous scene from Murder Drones of like, don't date my robot, please, or whatever, and all that stuff. My intention was for that to be like very satirical, not anything as far as like harmful, along with like the YUMESHIP chart that I'm putting out. Shout out to my homegirl Nix, who ended up sending me that chart to be able to fill out. I went 100% into that too. But I ended up using pretty much like Ant's quote or the official Dominant Games quote from like some, pretty much like from some DMs that I received from like them talking about me. And pretty much from that was probably maybe like another tipping point. Thought that I was trying to spread like a harassment or a witch hunt rhetoric, when that wasn't the case either. It was just more so adding towards the lore of literally my YUMESHIP with Nurse. Like I really had no like intention as far as like doing that. The fact that the YUMESHIP got to a point to where it's like I had to be asked from the official development team to be taken down. So I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a crazy, hilarious situation, but I can understand why, and pretty much even the circumstances leading up to it. I want to iterate to the YUMESHIP community and pretty much everyone, as far as especially my Twitter posts, as far as this was not a cease and desist that I received. I did not receive official legal notification to take everything down. The email that I was sent was a takedown notice. At first, I thought that a cease and desist and a takedown notice were the same exact thing. They're not. And I literally ended up having to do quick research on that to make sure that I wasn't trying to like deceive or like misinform anyone on that. I genuinely didn't know the difference. So when I ended up making that post on pretty much like the YUMESHIP subreddit and all that, that may have stirred up a little bit more of a controversy than I thought, for pretty much like getting a cease and desist for a YUMESHIP fan fiction I made. But once again, this was all completely in the email chain that I had with the developer. It was more so all of a thing to protect his IP and protect the brand's image from my actions of using their logo for the satirical parodies and the YUMESHIP charts, and pretty much putting them in a perception where they would have received bad light and pretty much harm towards the game. And for people who know why I made this fan fiction, that would have been completely against what I intended. That was not the case. Like, I actually apologize for all of that. For the Gravity Circuit subreddit, I will go ahead and say, like, I will not apologize for posting every single day as far as that and pretty much flooding your subreddit, because honestly, you guys allowed me to saturate that page. All I was just doing was posting consistently. I will apologize, however, for pretty much like using your comments as far as like stuff to be able to supplement the fan fiction. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, especially the moderators on that subreddit. For the moderators on Gravity Circuit subreddit, I actually truly want to apologize to you guys, because you guys probably had the most direct interaction as far as like my content, mostly for the past like several months. Well, I still wanted to be able to follow rules and all that, but I really was trying to test you all's patience as far as like the content making and see how chaotic I could make things to see like I was intentionally trying to get into you all's heads, and sadly it did get to that point. I know I'm laughing, but I'm so sorry. Oh my. The reason why I'm like really laughing at this, because like now really looking back at it, I'm seriously an asshole for that. So I am so sorry. Listen, no, like truthfully, I am actually like truthfully and genuinely sorry for the moderators, because I really was like testing you all's patience and testing boundaries, and I was doing it on purpose. But the thing was that like I said earlier, when I'm told not to be able to create, I'm going to do it 500 times or 1,000 times more, and very potently. That's just the way how I'm like built. Like, I truthfully am somebody who respects boundaries such as like IP rights and all this stuff, even though there is a debate and pretty much the valid critique of, how can I say, keeping the canon of the game that we all celebrate, known as Gravity Circuit, or like any other fandom or whatnot, because like that's truthfully the full way to show appreciation. However, this was fan fiction. There's creative expression and creative freedom as far as that. I had the ability to literally do what I wanted as long as I didn't take profit or like do anything crazily as far as that. I did not want to claim or like bring any like serious slander or harm to the characters on that. And that's why I ended up putting down that I am a creative nut job, and that none of that stuff was official Gravity Circuit works. So I just want you guys to literally understand that. I didn't mean to literally bring harm to seriously anybody and all this stuff. It was just like, this was a chaotic fan fiction that had a lot of suggestiveness. It did have a lot of controversy. a lot of infidelity. It was literal robo baby mama drama. Like, I don't know how else to put it. No seriousness though, I actually genuinely apologize that I made you guys literally crash out. That is honestly, seriously what happened. I honestly genuinely like literally feel bad for this. Oh my. This is a really hilarious situation. Oh my gosh. But I genuinely feel bad. I'm sorry for making you guys actually crash out. I'm not upset for creating and actually like posting on there, because I didn't post the same thing every day. Like, believe it or not, I really didn't post the same thing every day. I really just had a very, very high output. And honestly, at this point from that, I should have been making my own series or like my own OC or own OP rights or own story or whatever they call it at this point. But I still had the mission to be able to like get more eyes on Gravity Circuit. And that's literally all I intended. Like, and I seriously, truthfully mean that. I intended to get better eyes on Gravity Circuit. I wasn't really trying to like steal the characters and any of that stuff, because I was just trying to create and cross universes. I came to agreement with Ant. Pretty much we ended up discussing like all of the stuff as far as that. Any type of like actions I did, images, videos that involve like Dom Ant Games logo from like maybe any of the games or whatnot, or playing into the satire, I have deleted those images and deleted those videos. They are scrubbed from the internet, or more so scrubbed from the internet, at least within my power. We came to agreement as far as like keeping Robo Baby Mama drama alive and pretty much like keep it going. I will not be violating rules within like other spaces as far as that. I will keep the series going, but I will be respecting spaces as far as that for now on. This is so bad because I'm still like laughing in between these takes while trying to record this. But in all seriousness, like, I truthfully didn't intend any harm to you guys. I'm actually very and genuinely sorry for all this. I actually seriously am sorry for this. It's a hilarious situation because oh my, this was a passion project. The reactions I ended up getting from you guys were actually like probably legendary, and they were literal valid critiques too. Out of anyone, you guys really allowed me to put the ninja from Sonic Frontiers. Oh my God. I'm so I'm gonna have to cut this out, or maybe leave it. Oh my God. Oh. Bro. Oh my God. Listen, this really blew up high. Like, this blew up more than I thought. Blew up and actually got more heated than I thought. And I really just wanted to quell the mess on everything. I was dumb. I was one creative nut job that made a fan fiction that really made a lot of people angry, and I'm sorry.